Abraboni moyede aseni daswasa atuwuni adrenje enya konyaba wanansi kwantintin mwanu frihefa dabeno haubesin ameni jabana so me mama be mungu I've come too far I'll do what I have to do ni pesipia Meko swa komeni 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 Meko swa
Back to the basics. I brought one up, we're down so many times you don't want to even get up and just face it. You've been doing your best, trying to test every nest to find the best one you can lay in. That's why the CoRe project is here to help you gain skills to help you succeed and build your own nest. Springboard you to success. Nana, you go break through. Charlie, even COVID can defeat you. Search inside your core and you see you got the MasterCard of life in you. And it's so true, it is past due. So don't let nobody deceive you. I brought one here, didn't crack. I said, any that's so hot. So this is what you should do. Charlie, still move.
Meko swa komeni 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 Meko swa
Are you a young person dealing with the disruptions caused by COVID-19 to our careers, education, health, and social lives? Welcome to the CoRe program, an e-learning, e-mentoring, and e-counseling program designed to equip you with diverse skills to enable you to thrive now and even beyond this pandemic. We encourage you to download the video, audio, and workbook for each episode for free on the CoRe program website www.core.com.gh. If you're an MTN user in Ghana, you can download all videos, audios, or workbooks on our website without using your data. It's completely zero rated. And here's the bonus benefit: if you register on the website and go through a minimum of the 20 of the 24 sessions before the end of November, you will qualify for a certificate of
of 18 to 35. This seeks to enable us survive and thrive during this pandemic and afterwards. It is a program put together by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with Solidaridad and the MasterCard Foundation. The conference will provide a platform for participants to dive deep and interact with mentors in their chosen fields of endeavor. And we hold these conferences via Zoom and Facebook. You are most welcome to today's edition, which is the second edition of the conference. Many would agree that leadership is influence, and the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed, in many ways, a leadership crisis across business, political fields, economic fields, and even the personal level. Therefore, in this second edition of the CoRe conference, we seek to explore ways in which we can step up our leadership games and put on our leadership mantles. Therefore, we say that today we are discussing leadership in leading you and leading me. From 3 cities, Addis Ababa, Montreal, and Accra, our speakers are Clenam Nyomano, Dr. Yao Pebi, and Samuel Enim. I am Comfort Okran. Therefore, I will introduce my first speaker right after this break. Don't go away.
Are you a young person dealing with the disruptions caused by COVID-19 to our careers, education, health, and social lives? Welcome to the CoRe program, an e-learning, e-mentoring, and e-counseling program designed to equip you with diverse skills to enable you to thrive now and even beyond this pandemic. We encourage you to download the video, audio, and workbook for each episode for free on the CoRe program website www.core.com.gh. If you are an MTN user in Ghana, you can download all videos, audios, or workbooks on our website without using your data. It's completely zero rated. And here's the bonus benefit: if you register on the website and go through a minimum of the 20 of the 24 sessions before the end of November, you will qualify for a certificate of completion from the CoRe program. We will be very excited to hear from you. Post your questions and comments on our social media pages at CoRe program, or send them to us on the CoRe WhatsApp hotline 0551 535 533. CoRe, learning together, growing together. Are you a young person?
Says that leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts. It's about one life influencing another. In today's conference that we've titled Leading Me, Leading You, we have as our first speaker Clenam Nomanyo. She is an international development specialist who works with the African Union Commission. She is a turnaround strategist, a technologist enthusiast who has a mastery in creating processes and systems that preserve institutional memory, ensure continuity, while adding value to the international capacity of institutions. She possesses the diplomacy to manage people and complex relationships in a fast-paced international multicultural setting. Clenam really loves children and, of course, our one and only country, Ghana. You know, Clenam is joining us via Zoom today, and therefore for our viewers on Zoom, you are privileged to be sharing the same platform with Clenam. I would encourage you that as she speaks, if you have any questions, do put it in the chat or do write it down, and then we'll be able to bring it up when it comes to the question time. Additionally, those of you on Facebook, we are really privileged that you've joined us today. So without wasting much time, shall we go online and join Clenam all the way from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, joining us with Arise and Lead, Youth of Ghana.
Hello. mainly of youth. Can you hear me? The youth of this country, Ghana, need to avail themselves and be used and contribute towards making Ghana the great country we all envisage. Who is a leader? Who is a leader? My simple definition of who a leader is a leader is someone who can see things that needed to be improved and have the ability to rally people toward the achievement of that vision. A leader is someone who can see things that need to be improved and have the capacity or the ability to rally people towards the achieving of that vision. We didn't say that a leader is someone who is handsome, who is tall, who is rich, who is poor. It means that all of us, irrespective of how life deals with us, our background, our education, our exposure, our relations, our name, our tribe, we are all leaders. The leadership ability is inherent in all of us. So, my dear youth of Ghana, all of us, none of us can discount ourselves as not being a leader. So with that knowledge that you can be a leader, irrespective of who you are, where you come from, and your association, let's look at the attributes of a good leader. We have leadership like, okay, I am the SRC president, or I am the boss in this organization. Those are conferred leadership, like positions that are conferred in you. That does not really make you a leader. Yes, you have access to power, structured organization that you have access to power. It could make things a little bit more easier for you to operate from that organizational or structured position, because your office comes with that level of space to influence. But leadership does not necessarily have to be conferred to you by position. It is something that you as an individual can earn, can bring out. So we look at attributes of a good leader. A good leader is someone who can influence. A good leader puts people first. A good leader is someone who is ready to serve. A good leader is someone who is emphatic, who can empathize with people, who can connect to people on different levels. A good leader is someone who motivates. How do you influence? The influence is being patient with people. After all, we all didn't stand up one day and became leader. We were able to take up tasks and we made mistakes. Someone was patient to us. Someone was able to hold our hand and tell us that, oh, okay, Clenam, I think you could do this in a different way. Or you discuss your idea with someone and someone said, oh yeah, that is great. But don't you think it's too grand an idea? Why don't you start with just one little step? So a leader is someone that you could talk to, and the person will say that, oh, okay, yeah, I think this is possible. And that person, by influencing you, will help you to streamline your ideas, to help you to put them in shape. That person is able to, sorry, my max is disturbing me. That person is able to guide you, hold your hand. And you, as a leader, how do you also influence people? The same way that someone held your hand, the same way that someone was patient with you, someone was able to trust you enough to make expensive mistakes. And from that mistake, you learn life-changing lessons. The same way you also have to be patient and give back what you've received. So you have to influence, and you have to put people first. You can have your organization and you have your goals and you are on point to achieving them. See, it is people who will make your organization what it is. So if you don't put the people that serve you first, if you are not genuinely interested in their life, please don't call yourself a leader. Let's take our country, Ghana, for example. Can we say with confidence, can we say with all honesty, that the crop of leaders we have in our country care for us? Let me pause here so that you think about this. Can you genuinely say that the crop of leaders we have had over the few years care for us, put us first? The answer is no. But they will say, oh, the youth are the leaders of the country, the future leaders and all that. But all decisions that are made in this country of ours, majority of them does not protect the interest of our people. We don't care about ourselves. If we care about ourselves, we are not going to push ourselves into school without ensuring that the quality of education we are serving our people, it has the ability to transform their lives. Can we say that the current quality of education we are receiving in our country stand a chance of transforming our life? No, the answer is no. We have to care. See, oh my dear. Education is a game changer. China did not become China because they were doing chin chan chong and eating rice. Malaysia didn't become Malaysia because they were doing all their fun thing and enjoying life. Singapore, that we always tout about that, oh, Ghana and Singapore got independent in the same year. And Singapore is far, far ahead of us. Didn't become Singapore because they were pursuing other agendas. Those countries with singular focus invested massively in the education of their people. They invested massively in the education of their people. But how do we see in our country? From government upon government, we try, they try. But if we are sincere and we care absolutely about the raw material, the raw resources, the future of our nation, we have to put people first in every deal we do. If we are negotiating with international partners, do we care about just the small money that will come our way? And our friends and our family, or we look at the better future? Can we hold on as a country in giving us some of our concessions and develop our people? Local content law. How many of us pursue those laws? We the people of Ghana, we front for other companies and they give you 51% as the law demanded. You are a stakeholder, you front. So technology transfer is not happening. We are not serious with our people. If we are serious with our people, we are going to set targets, put up systems, processes that allow us to have knowledge transfer. And gradually, Ghana will become the Ghana that we want. So we have to put our people first. For you to be a leader, you should be ready to serve. You should be ready to serve. I did my first voluntary work when I was 11 years old. I was serving in the library in my hometown, Anoga, where I come from. So after school, I go to the library, I read. When the library closes and everybody is out, what do? I help the librarian pack the books. It got to the time that I was issuing and collecting, and that gave me access to read a lot of books. So you see me, I have books and I just consume them like that. And it also helped me to build relationship with the librarians, 3 of them. So at a tender age of 11, I was able to talk with adults. I was able to have a good relationship with adults. You want to be a leader. If you want to be a leader, there are a couple of things you have to do. 1, you have to eschew pride. One of the reasons why we are not ready to leave is that we are afraid that people will laugh at us if we take up some leadership position or we want to try something. See, nobody is born a leader. You didn't wake up one day and you started running and walking fast. We crawl. And what keeps us from wanting to expose ourselves to leadership position is pride, because we are afraid that we may not appear perfect before people. We could call it fear, but I call it pride. We are afraid that, if I do a mistake, someone will criticize me, someone will laugh at me, and if you're not ready to make any mistake in your life, please don't dream of being a leader. Never. Because leadership, the best leaders are people who have made the most gruesome mistake and are ready to learn from those mistakes. So if you want to be a leader, eschew pride, be vulnerable, take the step, make the mistake, prepare to learn. Don't make a mistake and someone is trying to correct you. So, me now, I'm the Ogabi, you know what I mean? You humble yourself. And one way to learn to become a leader is to read. Read, and read. It's not everything that someone can pass on to you. Never. You yourself, be hungry for knowledge. Be hungry for knowledge and invest yourself into reading. Everything we want. Thank God for internet. It's there on the internet. Though we have to be sensitive and filter whatever we are reading, because some of the sites are just not good for us. So we should be able to read. And when opportunity presents itself for us to lead, please do it afraid. I don't think there is anyone in this world who doesn't take up any task and is 100% sure that yes, this is it. Even experts who have been in their field for over 20 years, I am certain that when they are taking up certain tasks, they still have an element of fear in them. But what do? They do it afraid. Let me give myself as an example. Was I terrified to give this Zoom talk? Oh, yes, I was certainly terrified. But what do I have to do? I am doing it afraid because I am determined to learn. I am determined to expose myself to opportunities of influencing people. So I have to do it afraid. Another thing for you to become a good leader is to welcome feedback. As a Toastmaster, we have a saying in Toastmasters that feedback is the food for champions. And there is a saying in my local language, a word that glow, which literally means that when you're charting a path, you wouldn't know that it is crooked. So you always at a time have to have people surrounding you, asking them for feedback. Feedback is necessary. Other than that, you will run as fast as you can and you're on the wrong path. So be humble and get people around you who can give you critical feedback. And if you want to know how to give feedback well, join Toastmasters. We have a format of giving feedback that doesn't break you, but build you up. And you learn and you become a better person. For you to become a leader, you have to be ready to learn and unlearn. There are so many things, especially in my current position, and there were so many things that I was doing and I thought it was fine. Oh, I could just tell you off. But now I can't do that. It is a diplomatic setting. Everything you have to say, you have to, apart from preambling with my brother and my sister, which is so boring. But I mean, that's where I find myself. So I have to use my dear brother, my dear sister. At least that shows that you hold the person you are addressing in a high esteem. So you have to be ready to learn and unlearn. Do you just tell off people? Do you just speak your mind? There is a way of speaking up your mind in a balanced way that does not turn people off, but you are also making your points. So that is one thing I'm learning from here, and I'm so grateful. So the opportunity to learn is ceaseless. It is all around us. I'll give you an example. When I was doing my master's in the UK, I went with the mind that I am going to get 1 year learning experience from the UK in addition to my master's. So before I went, I looked online, I looked at some job they have advertised and all that. And I didn't think that I could apply for any of the job. All I want to do is to go and volunteer. Because from age 11, I've been volunteering. Even now, I still do volunteerism. So I went. And I told the head of library, it was a British Library for Development Studies. They wanted to make the British Library for Development Studies, which is hosted by my school, Institute of Development Studies, to be the number one point for all development literature. And to do that, they have to bring in materials, research materials from the South, like developing countries. So I went to Rian, the librarian, and I told her that, oh, I saw this thing online, but I don't think I am qualified to apply because I didn't go to school to work, but to volunteer and learn. So I told Rian that, oh, I want to work on that project. And he said, oh, it is a paid job and the application has long closed. So if I want to apply now, it's too late for me. Then I went back to her and I said, no, I don't want a job. I just want to volunteer maybe 2 hours a day so that I would learn. Then she came back and told me that, why don't you apply? I will open the application for you to apply. And I put in the application. According to the Brits, whatever they are funding, a Brit have to also have an opportunity to serve and earn income from that project. Me and some PhD students, we got taken. And they said like, oh, you have to do 20 hours a day. See, when I left my country, and I'm in this UK that is rain to 1 minute, cold 1 minute, hot 1 minute. The environment is new to me. I'm trying to adjust living in my country, and I'm trying to adjust to the weather, the people, the food, and even the study itself. So I'm not here to do 20 hours. Then I told them that, oh, the minimum hours I could do is 10. And they said, no, the minimum you could do is 16 or 12. So I took the 12. So I work every hours, 48 hours in a month. And what they pay me is more than my monthly stipend, my scholarship funding. It's more. And though I am from Ghana, West Africa, they made me work with Asia, East Asia, India, China, Sierra Leone, Malaysia, Sierra Leone, and all those countries. And by the time I finished school, I have my 1 year working experience in the UK. In fact, from that program, I went on to do some consultancy. My school is a think tank, a development think tank. I went around in the spirit of wanting to learn. We have something called yellow paper. You know, all the researchers, the fellows, you know what work they are working on. I go around knocking on doors. Oh, okay. I see you are working on those projects. I want to help. I want to help. From that on, I got a consultancy to do. That was when the Arab Spring happened. So the UNDP in East Asia wanted to reorganize the region. So they brought the research to us, and I worked on that. I put together a team of 5, and we work on reviewing their reports. We also study the regions, and we offer policy to overcome the difficulties that they have. And I think we were more centered on green revolution, because hunger was central to the chaos in the Middle East at that time, the Arab Spring. So out of learning, out of the quest to become a better person, you should be ready to learn. You should be ready to learn. And service, out of wanting to serve, you also have the chance to learn. I wasn't expecting a lot of money for this consultancy. I was making some good 21 pounds per hour. And I got about 150 hours. That's a lot of money for someone who just left a country to come and school. Apart from the 1 year contract I had working on the library projects. So our willingness to learn also opened us opportunity for us to enhance ourselves and become a better person. In that position, we can lead. If you want to be a leader,
and I must say, you have really spoken so well about arising and leading as youth of Ghana. I like the way your paper went from defining who a leader was to showing what qualities like being empathetic is needed, and the need to influence people in your sphere if you want to lead yourself and lead others. And your closing thoughts about volunteering being the way to open doors to you in different aspects of your life was really eye-catching. Thank you so much, Clenam. Clenam, we do have some questions for you. And these are just some questions that some people have sent to me. So I would like to encourage our listeners, whether you are listening on Twitter, or whether you are following our tweets on Twitter, or you are on Zoom, or you're on Facebook, kindly send us your questions, and we'll be sure to send it to our noble speakers. Well, my first question to you is for you, Clenam, is that you've stated how you've from working in the library in Ho in the Volta region to volunteering in the library in England, Britain. You say you show us that entrepreneurship, or leading or volunteering can help. Let me find out, what do you think are some of the obstacles that young people in our space, in Ghana or in other areas that we find ourselves today listening to today's program? What are some of the obstacles that prevent young people from leading in or from taking up leadership positions?
Thank you. I think genuinely, some people don't know of opportunities to serve. It's all about serving. Some people don't know about opportunities available to serve. And some people don't think that. But one thing that strikes me, that also amazes me, is that people feel serving is demeaning. It's shocking to encounter people who think that serving is demeaning. I have a cousin that I loved so much. I love him. His interaction with people is excellent. He's the one that have all the skills, interpersonal skills, 200%. And he's home now not working. We went to the village and we were doing some work and he wanted to help. And the sister said, no, you are a graduate. And I'm like, what? A graduate? A graduate don't work. So there is a perception out there that working is demeaning. People are not brought up to embrace work and serving as a way of life to become better. So those are some of the things. And also, I could say that fear. You want to appear good, you want to appear perfect, you don't want to make any mistake, which I said earlier is a form of pride. Do it afraid. Start somewhere and you become a better person. So that's what I have to say. We should have the courage to take the first step. And we should forget about whatever everybody thinks and hone ourselves gradually with time.
I had another question about how do you position yourself, but I think you answered it in your first. So I'd like to find out what are some of the, excuse me, what are some of the actions that government can take to engender active youth participation in leadership? How do we encourage youth to take up more leadership positions in the country?
It is a shame I'm not able to project my presentation. I thought of this. We have something we call power analysis, power cube. If you can Google it, you can look it up for yourself. We have space for engagement in the power cube. Okay, we have invited space. Invited space is when governments will put in policies that ensure that youth have active participation in governing the country. Unfortunately, in our part of the world and in almost everywhere in the world, the government space can just take this number of youth. So we have closed space, but we have claimed space. That is the space that we as youth have to target. It's like freedom. No one put it on a silver platter for you. You go for it. So that space that is there, the government can just do as much as maybe Ghana is part of Commonwealth Youth. So by the virtue of belonging to that association, you're supposed to put in youth policies and all that. We could just take a number of people, but the claimed space is what we have to target. We have to set our eye on that space and enter there and influence and lead from that space. If we want to wait on government, we just have as much as it can offer.
I'm having some feedback from people on Twitter. In general, on Twitter says, Clenam loves children and her dear country, Ghana. Hashtag CoRe program. And then Ekuya Boatuma is also saying, don't stop learning even if you are not in school. Avail yourself to more valuable information. And that is from our listeners on various social media platforms. And this is from the Twitter end. Ray Ryan on Twitter says that the CoRe program provides support for beneficiaries in areas like building resilience, health awareness, wellness and safety, building relevant workplace skills, and job readiness in the post-pandemic era. And that summarizes the reason why CoRe exists. And the CoRe conference is one of the many initiatives that we are pioneering under the CoRe program. Thanks for joining us on Twitter, on Facebook, as well as on Zoom. Romeo Chenebua is joining us from Sunyani, and John Tando is joining from Accra. Akofa and Kofi says that very interesting. And Efo Kosi says that I have to save this link to revisit this tutorial. There's part of your, oh, we're for sorry about that. I'm sorry, but then definitely go back to our Facebook feed, and I'm sure that you would even enjoy. I mean, going through the whole program from the very beginning to the very end. Nice to see you online, Efokosi. And then I must say that the CoRe program, our hashtag CoRe program is trending number 5 in Ghana. So let's hear from you as well. And let's see if we can trend number 1 in Ghana for today. Wow. I mean, that was so wonderful, Klenam. And Klenam, we are very grateful that you were with us all the way from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. It is an afternoon at your end, and we are grateful that you took time off your busy afternoon to join us. Thank you very much, and we'll definitely touch base again. Well, we move from all the way from Ethiopia, and we jump across continents and go to Canada now. We are now in North America, and we have a pastor, we have a physician, we have the president of International Student Ministries Canada. We have the CEO, and I'm sure when I mention the group, you know which group I'm talking about. The group CEO of the HAD group, which has presence in over 20 countries on all 6 continents. We have somebody who has physically served in 45 countries. He's been the host of media groups like CNN, the National Press Club, and so on. He is a John Maxwell certified trainer, speaker, coach, and a fellow of the African Leadership Initiative, the Aspen Global Network. I am privileged today to introduce to you someone that I have known for many, many years, and I've been privileged to call a friend, a speaker for Christ, Dr. Yao Pebi. He will be speaking about the sacred call to leadership. Dr. Yao Pebi joining us all the way from Montreal, Canada. We are privileged to have you today, and you are speaking on the sacred call to leadership.
Thank you so much, Comfort. You're looking great this morning. But yes, thank you so much for the invitation to come and share on a very important topic, the sacred call to leadership. Now listen to these words, because these are chilling words, and these words, originally written in French, were found on the frozen bodies of 2 Guinean teenagers whose lives were lost attempting to reach Europe in the landing gear of an Airbus 330 airliner en route from Conakry, Guinea to Brussels, Belgium. Listen to the words. Quote, "To the excellencies and officials of Europe, we suffer enormously in Africa. Help us. We have problems in Africa. We lack rights as children. We have war and illness. We lack food. We want to study. And we ask you to help us to study so we can be like you in Africa." End of quote. I mean, one cannot fail to experience the chill in those words. These were 2 African youth whose potentials were neither harnessed nor channeled to serve God's purpose in their generation. The 2 were Yaguin Koita, 14 years old, and Fode Tunkara, who was 15. Yanguin and Fode were looking to leaders of Europe. I mean, their words were to the excellencies and officials of Europe, right? They were looking to leaders of Europe because to them, their positional leaders in Africa had failed in their sacred duty of leadership. But you see, Yaguin and Fode took action. You may disagree with their approach, but they took responsibility for their own lives, and they died trying. And they actually made global impacts by the notes that they left on their bodies in case they died. Over the last couple of weeks, Nigerian youth have taken up responsibility to end SARS, hashtag end SARS, the police brutality in their country. You see, leadership in the purest sense of the word is not first and foremost about wanting to fill an empty position. Leadership in the purest sense begins with a need. It's a call to fulfill a need, a voice to fill a void. So 20 years ago, I did not set out to become the quote unquote grandfather of investment clubs in Ghana. There was no such title or position to aspire to in the first place. There was a need though. I got into medical school and realized you could actually become a poor doctor. Not because you weren't smart, but because you had no financial education. So I started leading myself. That's our theme, leading me, leading you. I started leading myself, getting more financial education, reading books on investment, like Clenham was saying, reading. I started leading myself, going for lectures at the Ghana Stock Exchange, still as a medical student. Eventually, I rallied about 20 of my colleagues together to start the Medics Investment Club, which still exists today. We are still invested in both the money and capital markets in Ghana. Soon we had a larger entity of 200 medical students and some nursing students and some doctors forming part of what we called Mutual Medics, initially managed by CDH and now managed by Databank. Soon I had written 3 books called Financial Wisdom books, 3 in a series, and was crisscrossing the country providing financial education to my generation, even as a medical student. It did not start with a position, it started with a need. Leadership is not about filling an empty position. It's about identifying a need and sensing a call to fill that need. You see, calling or vocation is the same word. Calling is English, vocation is from the Latin, right? Calling or vocation is rooted in the Latin word for voice, vocare, voice. And as Parker Palmer puts it, vocation does not mean a goal that I pursue. It means a calling that I hear. A calling that I hear. There is a voice that calls us, all of us, each of us, to lead. And it is a sacred call. To say leadership is a sacred call means 4 things. Number 1, that the leadership call is divine. It's of God. And I'll explain that. Number 2, that the leadership call is to be revered. Number 3, that the leadership call requires reverent dedication. And finally, that the leadership call must be secured against violation, infringement, etc. by a certain sense of rightness, right thinking, right being, right doing. There are well over 360 definitions of leadership. Yes, I have a whole 1-hour course I teach on defining leadership. There are over 360 official definitions of leadership. But for our purposes, we define the sacred call to lead in 3 ways. Number 1, to lead is to be responsible. Actually, to be responsible. I'll explain that. Number 2, to lead is to serve. And Clenham mentioned that. Number 3, to lead is to influence. Comfort also mentioned that. Each of these is a sacred trust simply because we're born human. But before I put some flesh on these 3 definitions of leadership, responsibility, service, and influence, let us spend some time exploring how come the leadership call is sacred in the first place. Why do I say it is a sacred call? Number 1, because it's a creation call. Number 2, because it's a classical call. Number 3, because it's a Christian call. And number 4, because it's a contemporary call. 4 C's, so you don't forget. Number 1, it's a creation call. You were created to lead. You were born to lead. The Bible says in Genesis 1:26, then God said, let us make every human in our image and in our likeness. Human beings are created in the image and likeness of God, who is the ultimate leader. In other words, being made in God's image means we were created to lead. It is godlike to lead. Leadership is in your DNA. The first description of mankind involves leadership. Secondly, still talking about the creation call, when God made man, these were the first his marching orders, the first words to man: be fruitful and increase, fill the earth, subdue it, rule, or lead. Genesis 1:28. So we've not only been created to lead, number 2, we've been instructed to lead. And if we've been designed and instructed to lead, number 3, we've been given authority to lead. And number 4, we must have been given the ability to lead. So once you were born, you've been born to lead. Listen to the words of Parker Palmer. I love it. This is a quote from him. He says, everyone who draws a breath takes the lead many times a day. We lead with actions that range from a smile to a frown, with words that range from blessing to curse, with decisions that range from faithful to fearful. When I resist thinking of myself as a leader, it is neither because of modesty or a clear-eyed look at the reality of my life. I am responsible for my impact on the world, whether I acknowledge it or not. So what does it take to qualify as a leader? Being human and being here. As long as I am here, doing whatever I am doing, I am leading, for better or for worse. And if I may say so, so are you. End of quote. So that is it. The creation call to lead tells us that it's a sacred, leadership is a sacred call. Secondly, I talk about the classical call, and I wish I had the time to go into Socrates' work in the Republic, book 7 of Socrates' Republic. This was written about 300 years before Christ, right, BC. So you see, leadership is a long historical thing. A lot of people think leadership is something, management experts invented, 30 years ago in America. No, it's a long history thing from creation to now. All right, so Socrates writes about 300 BC, and he uses an allegory of a cave where he portrays human beings, bound to chairs in this cave and facing a wall. Now, behind and above them is the mouth of the cave, in front of which people are passing by. Now, there's a fire outside the cave that causes all the passing figures to cast shadows on the wall of the cave, so that the bound prisoners who cannot turn to see the source of the shadows naturally conclude that what they see on the wall is reality. But this is it. Among the prisoners in the cave is one who is dissatisfied with his constraints, who yearns for knowledge and enlightenment, that he breaks free from his bonds, and that he turns to see the source of the images. Through great effort, he scales the rough walls of the cave and discerns the source of the shadows, the figures themselves. Then he sees the fire behind them casts a shadow on the wall. Again, not satisfied that he has discovered the ultimate expression of reality, he ventures forth from the cave into the sunlight. But the brightness of the sun forces him to look down on the ground and shade his eyes. And there he notices the shadows of trees and other objects, which he now perceives to be reality. But as his eyes become accustomed to the light, he's able to look up to see the objects themselves. And they realize they are a higher expression of the reality than the mere shadows on the ground. Ultimately, this man is determined to lift up his eyes to the heavens, and then he beholds above and beyond all the objects the sun itself, which Socrates calls good. I call God, right? The source of all reality. Now he has the task of getting back into the cave, and that is what leadership is. That is why I say you have the classical call to lead, because now Socrates says, having attained this immensely increased level of perception about the relationship between reality and the sun source, the relationship between reality and the sun as the source of reality, this specially endowed individual, you, Socrates calls the philosopher king, the leader, must now accomplish a difficult task of going back to where he came from, to the cave, all right, to see the imprisoned soldiers in the darkness and the illusion in the shadows, and help them to see light. And this person now has to readjust to the darkness again and help to guide people to the light. I mean, that is what you have the classical call to lead, not only a creation call, a classical call. If you've been gifted, if you are on this call, you are being gifted with internet. You've been gifted with the ability to understand English. You have Facebook. You have access to social media. You are privileged. You are in the lead. What are you going to do with it? I mean, for example, when my wife and I, discovered research-based, evidence-based power of reading for children. Oh my goodness, that children's ability to read influences their success in life more than their parents' socioeconomic status. We formed a company. We actually wanted to help other parents to get their children to read, leisure reading. In the end, we formed a company called Pebby Cups Library Services. That now has about 700 children from 190 schools all over Ghana who are reading, who are learning to love to read. Because what? We saw the light, we came back down to help others see the light as well. This is fascinating. But you have the leadership call is sacred because it's a creation call. Number 2 is a classical call. All right, get Socrates' book. It's very fascinating. Number 3 is a Christian call. Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world." Matthew 5:13 and 14. What are salt and light? Influencers. If Ghana is 70% Christian, and Africa is actually right now the most Christian continent in the world, Africa has more Christians than any other continent, 630 million Christians, then you're not only born to lead, you're the Christian call, you have also been born again to lead. Finally, you have a contemporary call. And let me quote something from a Financial Times supplement on Africa that came out in 1993. It says, quote, "From Africa must come a new generation of leaders committed to reform and tapping the same spirit that brought freedom 30 years ago at that time, about 60 years ago now. Angered by the failures of corrupt and autocratic leaders, frustrated by economic policies that did not deliver, impatient to recover their lost civil rights, and worn out."
But when you started, you were then doing that quote, a very, very, very interesting quote about leadership after the colonial times. So colonial times. So let's listen. Let's go on.
The first person who say responsible means responsible. I mean, Stephen Covey mentioned this in his 1988 bestseller, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. A leader is one who is responsible for their world. Whether it's in your inner world, which is leading me, or your outer world, leading you, leading others, indeed leading creation, all right? Are you able to respond to the requirements of your life and the demands of your society? That's leadership, responsible. COVID-19 has come to test that, right? You know, I told you about Pebby Cups, the library we started. It was hard copy books we were doing. Guess what? Soon we had to pivot because COVID-19 happened. We couldn't physically meet, and now we had to pivot online. So it's an entirely online, social enterprise now. We had to respond. Were we responsible? All right. So leading me, leading you, being responsible for yourself, responsible for your family, your community, your nation, your world, and circumstances that arise. That is leadership. And let me say that sometimes when people hear that everyone is a leader, they're like, okay, so who should sell the kenke for who to buy, right? Who should follow? But the thing is this: every one of us leads, every one of us follows. There are different scopes of leadership. So some have responsibility for a few people, some have responsibility for tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, millions. Some people lead billions, right? But there are different scopes of leadership, but there are so different levels of leadership. Some of us will lead the self. Some of us will lead our family. Some of us will lead a community, a nation, a region of the world, let's say Africa. Or some of us will lead in the world, on the world stage. There are also different fields of leadership. The pastor may lead me in church, but when he comes to my clinic, it's my turn to lead him as a doctor. You see, but when we both sit on the plane, it's the pilot's turn to lead us and for us to follow. All right. So don't despise your scope or level of field of leadership. Every one of us is born a leader, but not every one of us dies a leader. To lead is to be responsible. Number 2, to lead is to serve. Match your gifts to the perceived need that you've seen. Yes, the Creator's call is that we've been born to rule, but if I did quickly learn in Achimota School, from our school hymn, born but to rule through service giving. We are born to rule, but we rule through service. So to lead is to serve. How? Look at your shape, S-H-A-P. Look at your spiritual gifts, H. Look at your heartfelt passions, A. Look at your abilities, your talents, P. Look at your personality, E. Look at your experiences, including your acquired skills, and match them to the needs that you see in society. What did Jesus, the greatest teacher of all time, say about leadership? The greatest is the one who serves. John Wesley says, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my master's will. You have a sacred call to leadership. Finally, to lead is to influence, to persuade people and empower them for a cause. To lead is to influence people to achieve a noble purpose. All right? Leadership is to leave history better than we came to meet it. And the transformation I want to see, the change in Africa I want to see, is the change from the Africa we've been and the Africa that we are to the Africa that we can be. As the African Union's Agenda 2063 beautifully paints it, the Africa that we want. So what is your excuse for not leading? Is it identity? Is it lack of intimacy with your Creator? Is it intimidation, inadequacy, inferiority? Moses gave all these 5 excuses 4,000 years ago when he received a sacred call to leadership. Maybe you're not leading because of cynicism. Many of us have become very, cynical about leadership because of all the failed leadership we see and the industry that leadership has become. But you were born to lead, and you must die trying. True, Africa has many problems, but Africa has potent solutions. You are Africa's solution. You are Ghana's solutions. You are the COVID-19 solution. You've got the sacred purpose, the why to change the status quo. You've got the sacred power, the what and the how that it takes. And there's a secret prize, earthly and eternal, for those who will pay the price of leadership. Let me end with a hymn, which is a prayer. And many of you may have heard of Joseph Rudyard Kipling. He was an English journalist and poet and novelist, born in India in 1865. He received the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1907. He was just 41 or 42 years old at that time. And these are words he wrote. He wrote, many of you may know some of his poems, like If. But this is a hymn he wrote called Land of Our Birth. And I want to end with that. It says, Land of Our Birth, and pray this with me. Listen to these words and pray them with me as you respond, hopefully, well, to your sacred call to lead. It says, Land of our birth, we pledge to thee our love and toil in the years to be, when we are grown and take our place as men and women with our race. Father in heaven who loves us all, oh, help thy children when they call, that they may build from age to age an undefiled heritage. Verse 3, teach us to bear the yoke in youth with steadfastness and careful truth, that in our time thy grace may give the truth whereby the nations live. Teach us to rule ourselves always, controlled and cleanly night and day, that we may bring, if need arise, no maimed or worthless sacrifice. Teach us to look in all our ends on thee for judge and not our friends, that we with thee may walk uncowed by fear or favor of the crowd. Verse 6, teach us the strength that cannot seek by deed or thought to hurt the weak, that under thee we may possess man's strength to comfort man's distress. Teach us delight in simple things and mirth that has no bitter springs, forgiveness free of evil done, and love to all men neath the sun. And the last verse says, Land of our birth, our faith, our pride, for whose dear sake our fathers died. O motherland, we pledge to thee head, heart, and hand through the years to be. May we respond to this sacred call to lead in our generation, our calling to fulfill. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Yao Pebi, on the sacred call to leadership. And you said, among other things, that leadership is not about filling a position. It begins with a need. Leadership is a call to fulfill a need. And you say that leadership is a sacred thing. It is divine, therefore it is from God. It is to be revered. It requires dedication. It must be secured against violation, infringement, and one must have the right thinking, the right being, and the right doing. I believe that what I like most is that we were created to lead. We were born to lead. Thank you so much, Yao. Waking up so early in the morning. It's 7 a.m. in Montreal right now, but you joined us so that we can have this 3-city conversation on the CoRe Conference, which is an initiative of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with Solidaridad and the MasterCard Foundation. This program, it is live on Zoom, on Facebook, and we are trending on Twitter. It is such a privilege to come your way today. And some of our tweets from Twitter says that watch this program live by using the link, and they give us the link, and then somebody Yabafo is saying that definitely Samuel is coming on live. So all those who are not yet here, it's time to join the program because he is there. And again gives us the beautiful picture of Clenam being on this Zoom program or Facebook or Twitter. And then we have Sarah Apia saying, awesome, lead in your shape. And that is definitely from your brilliant presentation, Yao. And General says that if we want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We have also our special group from Maso Youth in Fosu, and they are saying that my leaders and I are enjoying the program. And definitely, if you are together, you're asking about feedback, take a picture and let's share it on all our social media pages. Whether you are alone or you are with friends, take a picture of Team Maso, take a picture about listening to this Zoom meeting or on Facebook, and let's share it on our social media pages, on Twitter, on Facebook, and let's see how that will trend as well. We also have Romeo Kodria from Sunyani. Thank you, Romeo, for being with us. We have John Tando from Accra. We have Akofa, who is also with us today. We have Samuel Tetefio from Accra. And we have to say, we have Alberta joining from Accra. Sylvia Ashley says Akwaba. Akwaba. And Joseph is definitely enjoying himself with us today. Today we are talking all about leadership, and we are saying that we are looking at the very simple issue, leadership being influenced, and we are looking at leading me and leading you. We have been grateful. We have worked together so far, and I'm sure you would like to listen to Samuel, and then together we bring you all to have a wonderful conversation on this program. So to all our listeners, don't go away. We will have next coming up shortly. But before I introduce him, let's go for a short commercial break. When we come back, I'll introduce our last listener, then we go into our questions and answers. So do send us your questions. Send us so that we can have some conversation after this short commercial break. Don't go.
CoRe, learning together, growing together.
I thought CDs were out of. Okay. Well. Definitely, we are live on the e-CoRe conference today, and this e-CoRe conference is thoughtfully put together by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with Solidaridad and the MasterCard Foundation. Today, we are talking about leading you and leading me, and part of what we are doing is to look at what leadership entails, and that is what Clenam. And Clenam says, Clenam has sent us this beautiful message for the one and only guy in her life. Says that John Tando, shout out. So hello to John Tando, who is the support behind Clenam. We are so grateful for supporting Clenam in all that she does and for helping her be who she is presently. Well, we are back on the e-CoRe conference, and we are privileged to have our next speaker. If Clenam opened the doors with such force and ensured that you couldn't turn away for 1 second, let me assure you, that you need to buckle up, because Samuel Enim, who is ending today's program, is on a different level completely. He is the CEO of Focus Life Group, as well as the founder and CEO of Center for Transformational Leadership in Africa. A corporate lawyer, banking, finance, and corporate governance professional, and John Maxwell certified coach. Today, the John Maxwell people are flowing in the program. A motivational speaker, a facilitator of our Breakfast Club Africa, a legal advisor. You definitely know that this is somebody who is passionate about helping young people unearth and optimize their God-given potential. Ladies and gentlemen on Zoom, on Twitter, and on Facebook, join me, welcome Mr. Samuel Enim, CEO of Focus Life Group, to talk to us about self-leadership. Don't go away.
And thank you, Springboard Roadshow Foundation. And thank you, Clenam, and thank you, Yao, for all those insightful ideas that you have shared with us. And I'm just going to copy and repeat some of the things you have said. Very, very easy when you speak at last. To say everything and you just have to repeat them and summarize. That's very interesting. Thank you, everybody who is online, and we are all privileged. We should thank Springboard for bringing this to us. Young people, we have a duty. We have a duty, and I would like to start with this story. A merchant went out to buy a camel, and when he bought the camel, negotiated, got a price, and came back to his house, he asked the servant to untie the saddle. And as he was doing that, he found a pouch with a lot of precious diamonds. And the servant went to the master and says, "Master, you bought a camel, but you have also lots of precious diamonds." The master said, No, I have to return this to the owner because I only bought the camel. He says, "But nobody will know." He says, "Doesn't matter." He returned the diamonds to the owner, and the owner at that point was looking for his pouch, and he was relieved. After some discussion, he asked the merchant to take one of the precious diamonds. The merchant says, "Well, no, I don't want to take anything." He begged him. Then he said, "Anyway, by the way, before I brought this, I actually took two of the most precious." The owner says, "You took two?" So he started counting, quickly counting after counting everything, he found that everything was intact. He said, "But everything is here. You said you took two?" He said, "Yes, I took two. The two I took were honesty and self-respect." And that is what I'm going to try for us to understand by self-leadership. Honesty and self-respect. Character is the foundation of leadership. Without trust, you cannot lead. And before people can trust you, you have to develop within you a strong foundation of strong character. You see, it is very easy for us to say, "Oh, I want to lead the world. I want to lead this organization. I want to lead this church." It's very easy to stand on the pulpit and to preach to people. It's very easy to stand on political platform and talk about corruption and tell the young people why they should be serious about life. And when we have preached all that and they listen to the news every day, what do they see? They see our leaders insulting each other, stealing our money, and behaving in a way that even young people wonder, is this the person who was telling us to behave this way? What is happening there? You have gone out with a public image, but you've lost out on the self-image. The personal side, leading yourself. The most difficult person to lead is yourself. You can lead people easily. You can tell people what to do. You can give instructions. But if you truly want to lead and have a lasting impact, it has to start with yourself. You have to lead yourself by developing character, because character is the foundation of leadership. Trust is created through character. Talent is protected by it, and internal peace is secured through character. So ask yourself before you decide to lead whether you are a healthy person to lead. Stand in the mirror and look at yourself. Look at you and ask yourself, am I somebody that other people should follow me? In fact, ask yourself, if you were to follow you, will you follow you? And if you will not follow you the way you see yourself in the mirror, then who should follow you? That's self-leadership. It starts from there. So going to the public is very, very easy. You need to lead yourself first. And there are 4 dimensions of character that you need to develop. The first one is authenticity. Who are you when nobody is there? Are you the same person no matter who you are with? It's very important that as a leader, people know that when they see you, this place, that place, you are the same person. Number 2, self-management. Somebody has said, when we teach young people to envision what they can do, before teaching them to know who they have to be, we lead them to fall. Because it's very critical that we learn to know who we want to be and to manage ourselves there. Number 3, humility. It's absolutely crucial that if you're going to lead, you're going to be humble. Clena mentioned something like that. You have to be humble. Leaders are learners. And Jesus has said, those who want to be big in the kingdom must be like children. What that means is that you have to humble yourself, learn, ask questions, and that's what children do, and that's what leaders do. They humble themselves, ask themselves questions. You're not just going to sit and give all the answers. And courage. Glenna mentioned courage. It's absolutely important, because if you're going to build character, there's going to be a lot of challenge. Integrity issues are going to come. You have to be able to stand and say, this is the right thing to do. Character makes you bigger on the inside. Absolutely important that you are bigger on the inside before you come out. And I think he had mentioned Stephen Covey's book. He talks about the private success and the public success. Be successful privately in your room. Work on yourself before you come out to lead. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So, to develop character, you need self-leadership. You also need to embrace good values. Good values. And you also need to value people. The total solid character is somebody who is committed to leading himself, who has good values, and who also value people. Leadership, the highest purpose of leadership is to add value to people. And how do you add value to people when you yourself have no value within yourself? In law, we said that you can't give what you don't have. So if you want to lead and adding value to people, you have to first add value to yourself. Now, how do you do that? 3 things. Number 1, responsibility. And Yao has mentioned that. Responsibility. You have to take charge of your life personally. You need to stop complaining, looking for somebody, complaining about your mother who didn't take care of you, your father who didn't take care of you, your church that didn't take care of you, your country that didn't provide for you, your head teacher that was bad to you. You have to stop and remember, all that your parents had to give to you is life. Once they've given you that life, the rest is up to you. And you have to take responsibility. This, we had a Live to Lead recently, and we had a very fantastic woman, Farida, who's been living with, cerebral palsy from infancy. The lady cannot even walk. When she's coming to my office, we had to hold her. But living with this condition, she's been able to grow to become one of the world's international IT engineers and created software for financial institutions. And when she was speaking, and I asked her, what would be your advice to the youth? He says, my only advice is that they should do away with this entitlement mentality. We think that we're entitled to everything. And she says, I got my first phone when I'm able to work for it. Nobody owes you anything. It's important that you take responsibility of your life. Number 2, intentionality. To lead yourself means you have to be intentional about your life. You have to plan your life. You have to design your life. It's a daily matter. What is on your daily agenda? What do you do every minute of your life? I was born in a village. I walked 5 kilometers to the nearest school by farming parents. You go to school in the morning, walk 5 kilometers school, walk 5 kilometers back. But at that point, even at that village, and I say it's the grace of God, whether it's raining or not, I decide that I will go. And I don't know where that came from, but my spirit was this. I am not going to live in this village for the rest of my life. I have to make a difference. I have to change it. And so I had to intentionally go through the process of learning and building my own life. And glory to God, I became the first lawyer in the village. In fact, the first graduate of the village. And it is not because my parents were rich or because they were poor peasant farmers. I had to take responsibility and intentionally follow through. And number 3 is self-discipline. Self-discipline is consistently doing the right things to become who you should be. Consistency. And that kind of discipline, putting yourself in check, it starts from our mind. Self-leadership starts from the mind, the way we think. Buddha has said, all that we are is the result of our thoughts. The thinking in your mind is what determines your behavior. And your behavior then creates your habits, which then creates your character. And that character then determines your destiny. And that requires discipline, putting yourself to strict purpose. Self-leadership also requires that you know yourself. You should know yourself, assess your strengths and weaknesses, and ask yourself a few questions. What area of your life are you losing grip of? And take charge of it. Why do you believe this is happening to you? Ask yourself that question daily if you want to be a better person. What have you done to overcome the challenge of self-discipline? What is the hardest thing you have done to improve your life? A lot of the time, we've just given up. We are not working hard enough on ourselves, and that will not help us. Now, let me end by giving you a few benefits of leading yourself well. Number 1, self-leadership is the prerequisite for excellence, and therefore it brings you uphill. Number 2, self-discipline makes the difference between temporary success and permanent success. Number 3, self-leadership makes habit your servant and not your master. A lot of us young people have become, have made some habits that are just ruling our lives. But when you discipline yourself and you lead yourself, your habits become your servants. Do what you have to do, when you should do it, whether you feel for it or not. Number 4 benefit, self-leadership and respect go together and therefore ensures your reputation. Self-leadership will reinforce your vision and your values, and self-leadership would multiply your growth. My brothers and my sisters, we have walked where you are walking. I am proud of my village origins, and one of the things that we used to do in the village was we sat around fire and we told stories. And one story that I tell most of the time when I have opportunity to talk to young people about their life is this story about 3 young boys who lived in a village, and there was an old man in the village who was supposed to be the wisest person in the village. And so they decided they were going to test whether this old man is truly wise. They went to the bush, caught a bird, and did the plan. They go to this old man and ask this old man, "Old man, we have a bird in our hand. Is the bird alive or dead?" They went, played a trick on the old man. "Old man, we have a bird in our hand. One person hiding the bird behind him. Is the bird alive or dead?" The old man looks at the young boys and says, "Young men, the life of the bird is in your hands." No, old man, that's not the question we are asking you. We want you to tell us, is the bird alive or dead? Because the plan was that if the old man said the bird was alive, they will leave the bird to fly. If he said the bird was, the bird was alive, they will squeeze it and die. If he said the bird was dead, then they leave it to fly. They tried again, and the old man says, the life of the bird is in your hand. Whatever you can become, whatever you want to do, whatever position you want to achieve, whatever influence you want to have in this world, it's in your hand. It starts with you. Transformation starts with you. Be the difference that you want to see in the world. It's not enough to complain about what others should do or not do. Ask yourself, what can I do today to make a difference in my own life so that I can become a better influence in the world? Thank you so much for the time and your attention, and may God bless us.
Thank you. Commercial break. When we come back, we shall continue with the discussion. Therefore, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, do patch it through, send it either on Facebook or on Zoom or Twitter, and and make sure you put the hashtag CoRe program, and we'll answer your questions. I know those of you on Zoom, some of you have raised your hands. As soon as we come back from the short commercial break that we are going on, we'll patch you through so that you can ask your questions. So don't go away. Dr. Pebe is online. We also have Samuel Nyim here with us in the studios, and we will have a wonderful, wonderful conversation. We'll be right back. Right, so we'll be going on a short commercial break shortly. When we come back from this commercial break, we'll start the conversation.
Dealing with the disruptions caused by COVID-19 to our careers, education, health, and social lives. Welcome to the CoRe program, an e-learning, e-mentoring, and e-counseling program designed to equip you with diverse skills to enable you to thrive now and even beyond this pandemic. We encourage you to download the video, audio, and workbook for each episode for free on the CoRe program website, www.core.com.gh. If you are an MTN user in Ghana, you can download all videos, audios, or workbooks on our website without using your data. It's completely zero rated. And here's the bonus benefit: if you register on the website and go through a minimum of the 20 of the 24 sessions before the end of November, you will qualify for a certificate of completion from the CoRe program. We will be very excited to hear from you. Post your questions and comments on our social media pages at CoRe program, or send them to us on the CoRe WhatsApp hotline 0551 535 533. CoRe, learning together, growing together. Are you a young person dealing with the disruptions caused by COVID-19 to our careers, education, health, and social lives? Welcome to the CoRe program, an e-learning, e-mentoring, and e-counseling program designed to equip you with diverse skills to enable you to thrive now and even beyond this pandemic. We encourage you to download the video, audio, and workbook for each episode for free on the CoRe program website, www.core.com.gh. If you're an MTN user in Ghana, you can download all videos, audios, or workbooks on our website without using your data. It's completely zero rated. And here's the bonus benefit: if you register on the website and go through a minimum of the 20 of the 24 sessions before the end of November, you will qualify for a certificate of completion from the CoRe program. We will be very excited to hear from you. Post your questions and comments on our social media pages at CoRe program, or send them to us on the CoRe WhatsApp hotline 0551 535 533. CoRe, learning together, growing together.
Well, welcome back. Welcome back to our e-course conference, which is an initiative of the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with Solidaridad and the MasterCard Foundation. From the comments that are flowing on all the social media platforms that we have, I know that we are having a great time. We have Esmeralda Kwedu, who says, I like the way there are lots of leaders from the John Maxwell Leadership Group. CoRe program, you rock. That's, I mean, definitely the CoRe program rocks all the time. And we have Frank Wilson watching live from Accra. And we also have Prosper from Dodowa. He says, I am enjoying the show. Dr. Yaupebi, you ended a very powerful presentation with that beautiful hymn, and I think I even like the fact that you sang our school hymn together, because I also sang a few lines there. My question is that so therefore I have on Zoom right now, I do have a lady promise. Okay, right, okay. So I understand that we are having a slight challenge with our Zoom feed. So as soon as they come back, we will have you all joining us. But I have a John Maxwell quote here, which says 7 steps to success. And it says, make a commitment to grow daily, value the process more than events. I personally believe in that process more than the fact that I have done this, because it makes you realize that it's not a destination, but it's a journey that we are going on, and that is what makes us living people. And I enjoyed your authenticity, your self-management, humility, all those things, that attributes that you brought up in your presentation. My question is everybody supposed to be a leader?
Well, as you have said, there are different levels of leadership. Mm-hmm. So if we understand that leadership is influence, mm-hmm. your ability to influence others, consciously or unconsciously, you are influencing anyway. Mm-hmm. Okay? So the concept of leadership that people have understood to be some high position, some title, mm-hmm. in that sense, not everybody will be a chief of the village. Not everybody will be a minister. Not everybody is going to be a president. But everybody has a level of influence, ability to impact people one way or the other. Even in your own small community, where people are throwing rubbish all over the place, you have the possibility to step up and say, guys, can we clean up this place together? That's leadership. Mm-hmm. Okay, so everybody can be a leader. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are people who may have innate qualities that predispose them to, to lead better than others, but all of us can learn to become leaders. And all of us, actually, like I said, all of us should aspire to make an influence and hope that the influence is positive, not negative. So that was what I would say. Yes, everybody should aspire to be a leader, but different levels. And of course, leading also involves following. Okay, and that's self-leadership. Sometimes we're accusing others, our leaders, of not doing this, and we are doing the same thing.
There's no connection.
There's no connection.
Yeah,
It doesn't work. Yes.
Yeah, it definitely does not
Yes.
work. And I know that you have been the Center of Transformation Leadership for many years, and so I wonder, do you ever have people coming there and asking you, why can't I just do the leading and leave the self out of it? Is it possible? Can they be separated, or self and leadership always goes together?
You come into this world with you. Leaving the self out is what we do when we put you in the grave. But as long as you are alive and kicking, you can't take you out. It is absolutely important. In fact, Jesus says something. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's you. It begins with you. And who you are is going to determine the quality of your leadership, the quality of your impact. So you can't take your you out. So you have to work on it. You have to work on yourself very, very diligently. Because without that, what we are going to have, is, you repackage some caricature and we put on the wall as a leader, and we are seeing a lot of them. A lot of people who are supposed to be honorable or maybe dishonorable. We don't know.
Okay, so Sam, is it possible that there may be certain obstacles on our path to become leaders? Are there any obstacles, and what are these obstacles? Can you share some ideas about that?
Yes, there are challenges. Life itself is a challenge. We, for example, in Africa, sometimes there is a major cultural obstacle where from infancy you are told that a child must be seen and not heard. You're not encouraged, to speak up. You're not encouraged to be yourself. And our educational system is also not helping us. We have an educational system that just trains us to memorize and pour. Your teachers are even asking you to just write the notes the way they gave it to you. And that kind of thing is a challenge to developing yourself and developing your qualities. The other problem we have is the type of models we see. That becomes a big challenge, because if all you are seeing are people who call themselves leaders, and every morning we are seeing they are stealing, they are cheating, they are covering up every day,
it becomes difficult.
It becomes difficult for you to now say, I want to lead and do the right thing. So our environment can be a challenge. But we can still make a decision and a choice that irrespective of the environment, it is not going to be easy. John Maxwell will say, everything worthwhile is uphill. So it is a challenge, it's a difficulty, but once we make up our mind, we can be able to make it.
It's a difficulty, it's a challenge, and once we make our mind, if we can do it. Right, Yao, thank you for joining us back, and we are grateful that you are with us. I'm wondering, Yao, we have someone here, Yao, also called Yao, Joseph Yao in Tiawa. He says that I'm really enjoying this program. I see leadership is the problem of Ghana and Africa with all our well-endowed resources, and it is still a challenge. He advocates that we need politicians with integrity. Yao, what would you say to this particular assertion from Joseph Yao in Tiawa?
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you, Comfort. This is a great work you're doing, and only generations will prove, just how much worth this is. Yeah, thank you for your question. I absolutely agree with you. In fact, John Maxwell, who mentors both myself and Sam, likes to say that everything rises and falls on leadership. Everything. So you're right. If Ghana is great, it's because leadership is great. If Ghana is not, it's because leadership is not. Same thing about the US. We all thought the US was so phenomenal. And now we're looking at certain things about the US, and it's all because of leadership, right? But having said that, that is why this theme today is so critical. Leading me, leading you. If everything rises and falls on leadership, then everything rises and falls on self-leadership, like Sam has said. And integrity is part of that. Integrity, unfortunately, has become a political word in Ghana. I hear people saying it who should not say it because they don't understand it. And in its simplest form, integrity, it means you are integrated. You did some math in school, I'm sure. The opposite of integers is fractions, right? Integrity comes from the word integer. That's the Latin root. It's a whole number. It could be positive or negative, but it's a whole number versus fractions, which is divided. So integrity means that you are whole, and in our local parlance, we have Anansi's story. Anansi is not a guy of integrity, but somehow he's become our national hero, right? There's one of the stories where there's Anansia, Opaibo, any Anansi who does this, and an Anansi who does that. In other words, the guy you are in the office is different from the guy you are at home, which is different from the guy you are at church, which is different from the guy you are when you're Sheen Jama. That is a lack of integrity. All right. So I absolutely agree with you. We need leaders whose private lives reflects the public and whose public lives cannot be disputed in the public. In fact, John Maxwell likes to say that his favorite definition of success is when those who are closest to you love and respect you the most. You see, so not the case where you are making these big proclamations on stage and your children at home or your wife or husband, the people who are closest to you are saying, then you have no integrity. So yes, integrity is important. Integrity, actually, who we are is more important than what we do. Yes, I like to say they are both important, but who we are is even more important than what we do, because we do what we do as a flow from who we are. May God help us to be people of character, people of integrity. Then it will affect the way we lead.
Fantastic. May God help us to be people of character and integrity, and it will affect the way we lead ourselves. I'm now coming to, we have on our Theophilus answer is asking you, Sam, as well as I think you also mentioned slide, and I think Clenam also mentioned slide, if they can get the slides for the program. So I believe it is possible. Pardon? Yeah, okay. So the slides will be made available on our website. So I encourage you, kindly go to the website, core.com.gh. Look for the link that has the slides CoRe conference, and then you can download the slides from there. So the slides will be available on our website, core.com.gh. And when you go there, I can assure you there are other 15 minutes presentations on different topics like talent development, knowing yourself, and so on and so forth, that you can watch for free. And if you're an MTN user, it is free for you as well. Let's moving straight on. And I know, Promise, you have had your hand up for a long time. So Promise, you are on Zoom. You can please ask your question.
Okay. Good morning to you all. My question is, for you to be a leader, starting, it will be very hard for you. So if you are starting, what are the challenges that you are going to face? How are you overcome challenges?
Saying that being a leader has some challenges, and therefore, what are some of the challenges that if you're if you're a leader, you are bound to face?
Yes, I mean, leading people is not easy. Okay, so if you choose the path of leading, and everybody is born to lead, but as you have said, some people die without leading, or without even trying. So you need to, first of all, understand yourself. I mean, most of the time, the obstacle is not the other person, it's you. So begin with yourself. Then, of course, secondly, understand people. Because leadership is about people. It's not about processes, it's not about systems, it's not about machines. Like, I mean, we like to quote John Maxwell. He says that you can love people without leading them, but you cannot lead people if you don't love them. So if you want to take the business of leadership, you should start first by beginning to love people, because leadership is about people. It's about adding value to people. So begin to love people. If you don't love people, don't go into the business of leadership. And that's the first thing. So start from there. And once you start from there, work on yourself. And also, I used to have a pastor in my church who used to say, everything you do, graduate. You talk about process. Everything you do, he said, even if you're a cleaner, graduate. In other words, go through the process of, training yourself well. Invest in yourself. It's absolutely important. I mean, this is being made available to a lot of people. But as people spending just the 15 minutes to go, they will not do it. And it's free. And then later on, they go and complain that, oh, I want to go to Harvard and I don't have money. But what are you going to learn in Harvard that you're not learning on this program? For God's sake, everything is here. Yeah. So, invest the time, commit yourself. It involves commitment. Once you're committed and you develop the passion for it, then it's no more work. It's no more work. So that's what I would say to promise. If you want to go into leadership, it's commended. Start with yourself. Love people, get commitment, and go through the process of learning and developing yourself, getting the skills, knowing yourself, knowing people, and knowing how to lead. Because all of us can learn to lead.
All of us can learn to lead. Joseph, you're on Zoom and you want to ask a question. Can we hear your question, please?
Good morning, please. Yeah, I'm talking from Takrady, Shama. And my question is, you want to be a leader. You may have more ideas of leadership. But here is the case, you don't have money. And in this world, money does everything. Maybe I want to do something, whether that will excel my leadership, another bring out my leadership to everyone to know that, oh, this guy have this talent in him or something like that. But there's no money that you can use it to promote yourself, or maybe money that you can use to buy something or whatever. So with this case, how are you going to excel your leadership career or whatever?
I'm spoiled for choice. I mean, because I have somebody who has worked many years in the banking field. But I think for Yao, having done those investment clubs, and you've written at least 2 books on investment, I think you're the best person to help Joseph in this particular instance. So Yao, could you please help Joseph? If you don't have cash, how do you do it and lead?
Yes. Good, very good question. And I like how practical, Joseph, you are being. Thank you. And for being honest about it as well. Take it from me. What you really need, money is important, don't get me wrong. But what you really need is another M. May I suggest another M instead of money? What you need is mentorship. You need a mentor. Every one of us needs mentors. Now, there are different kinds of mentors, right? A mentor could be someone who's helping you with your spiritual life. Christian people call it a discipler. A mentor can be a coach, right? And there's no high-level performer in this world who doesn't have a coach. Whether it's basketball, whether it's in tennis, whether it's in public speaking, you need a coach. A mentor could also be someone we call a divine contact. And someone who opens a way, who opens a door. It is not money you need. It is people you need. Because guess what? It is people who have the money. There's some people who even get the money and are not able to maximize the opportunities because nobody advises them. Nobody opens doors for them. You can have money and you still not get into Harvard. But a mentor can write a letter for you and you will get into Harvard, although you don't have money. So do you understand what I'm saying? So mentorship. Every one of us on this call, if you don't have a mentor, you are missing out big time in life. Let me give you a quick example where Comfort talked about this, the investment clubs and the books I wrote about investment. What a lot of people don't know is how I got money to print those books. So I wrote this book on financial wisdom. I was passionate about financial literacy in Ghana, and I was still a medical student. One day, I got up from Kolebu, I went to SNIT, the SNIT head office. That's where Data Bank had its office at that time. I went with a friend of mine, and we went to see Ken Ofuriatta, the current finance minister. At that time, he was leading Data Bank, which he founded. And we presented to him, this idea of, passionately of financial education in Ghana and this and that and that. To cut a long story short, Ken gave me a loan. He gave us a loan to print the books. He came for the launch of the books. We didn't even know each other personally at that point, but that began a mentorship with Ken, which has lasted about 20 years now. We actually just spoke a couple of weeks ago. But the other thing is that I said that as soon as we make the money from the books, we'll pay him back. Indeed, within 3 months, we had recouped all the money. Guess what? Integrity. I went and I paid him back for the money that he had given me. Now, I needed the money, right? True. But where was the money? The money was in the hands of the mentor. You need more than money. You need mentorship. Grab a mentor.
On that note, I want to introduce this aspect of the CoRe program. As part of this CoRe program, we have 3 legs. We have the learning program, we have the mentorship program, and we have the counseling. We have mentors in more than 60 different aspects of working in Ghana. So if you are here tonight or today and you've not signed up onto our mentorship program, you have heard from Yao, and therefore I encourage you, go to the same website, core.com.ga, and just say sign mentorship, and we will get in touch with you and find out which area you are interested in, because we have lawyers, we have carpenters, we have interior designers, we have what's it called? We have those who are even into simple machine welding and so on and so on. Different aspects all over the place. And if in case you have, let's say, a group that are into a particular area and you want mentors, get in touch with us either at core.com.gh or 055 153 5533 055 1535533. Send the word mentorship if you want to join the counseling group, and this is in partnership with the Ghana Psychological Association. So if you want counseling as well in terms of wellness or what is maybe things that are worrying you, these people are also on standby. So the learning program, there's the counseling program, and there's a mentorship program, all at core.com.gh. Don't miss out. And we go straight on to the Zoom platform again. We have another question. Burning then. This is from Evans. Evans, you are burning on Zoom and you want to ask us a question. So Evans, could you please give us your question? Evans, I think yeah, I have a quick one. You posted about, or you talked about some of the ways in which you use COVID-19 as a platform or a leveler to start this program that you started with the kids. Is there any other way in which did you suffer adversely, or how have you been able to respond in other ways to the effects of COVID-19 on you, especially since you are in Canada presently?
Yes, thank you very much. There's no one COVID-19 hasn't affected in one way or the other. If you're not been affected, you are not in this world. One of the major ways in which it's affected is we do a lot of leadership development, but in the context of hospitality. with the international students, many of whom have traveled from all over the world, from almost 200 countries to Canada, and, need a friend, need someone to talk to. A lot of times we invite people to our homes and things like that. And unfortunately, that aspect of life and ministry and work is gone. Because in fact, even as we speak right now, my city, Montreal, is on red alert, is in the red zone. My province has half of the COVID cases in Canada. So that's a part that we've been grieving, that we're not able to physically meet with people and be hospitable to people in that way. But, how we've been able to respond to that is we've been able, we've gotten onto Zoom and other platforms, and now we're able to do Bible studies, leadership training, and things like that online. And one of the cool things is that one of the blessings in it is that now we have people who are able to join. Now it's work without borders, right? It's ministry without borders. Here I am joining you from Montreal. You are in Accra. Clenham is in Addis. We probably wouldn't have thought about this, this kind of collaboration, a year ago. We would have been thinking a building, a place, a space. So the good side about it is that now we're able to connect even with our students who have gone back to China, or in Japan, etc. Now we're able to meet them because we meet online. One other way it's affected us, well, we've had to actually, we got a student to come and live with us, looking at their loneliness, and whatnot. And we actually got somebody to come and stay with us in our home, a Ghanaian international student at McGill University. So there are many ways. One of the ways affected me is my work involves a lot of travel. And this is the longest I've ever been without traveling. Sometimes I do about 70, 75 flights a year, and since March, since coming from Ghana, you remember we had the Ali Africa Leadership Initiative program at La Beach. Since I came back, I haven't gone anywhere. I'm quote unquote, I'm stuck here. But what that has been doing is causing me to press in, to find out, why is this happening? What is the opportunity? It would be a terrible thing to leave COVID-19 and go back to the way life was before. And one of the things that has impacted me the most is a statement I heard from a church planting friend of mine. He said, "Are you broadcasting when you should be leaning in?" So apart from pivoting like we did with Pebicaps and trying to adjust and being response able, one of the ways to respond is actually to have solitude and quiet and listen to your life, listen to the Lord, listen to what he's saying through all of this. Don't be broadcasting when you should be tuning in.
Because it makes it more active, because part of learning from God or listening to God involves you taking time to say, where am I going and how is it going to my end? Thank you very much, Yao. Yao, we are very grateful that you joined us, and so we'll hear your final words, and then we'll go to Clenham in Addis Ababa for her final words, and we'll close with Sam in the studio with us. So Yao, could you, you are very passionate. Can you give us your final thoughts? Is there anything that we may have left out, or is there anything that you feel that we need to re-stress on it? So, your final words for us today. And thank you so much for joining us all the way from Montreal in Canada.
Well, thank you, Comfort, again, and Albert and Jojo and the whole team, Papayao. Thank you for the invitation. I couldn't resist when I got it, because the leadership is a passion of mine. And as you've all heard today, it's a calling from God that we have. I just want to end by saying, if we're going to transform the status quo, as a family, as a community, as a nation, as a continent, it's going to cost us something. And from some of the questions I'm hearing there's a lot of desire. But perhaps that desire is not being matched by the willingness to sacrifice. There's no progress without sacrifice. And so I want to challenge us, especially this program is designed mainly for people between 18 and 35. Africa is the most youthful continent in the world. And that could either mean great trouble or great opportunity. For me, it means great opportunity, all right? And so let's pay the price. I've already told you, you have the purpose to lead. God has given you that. You have the power to lead. I am encouraging you. I'm charging you, like John Wesley said, a charge to keep. I'm charging you to invest the time and the talent and the treasure and your totality into this transformation that Africa needs. Think this transformation, because we become what we think. We begin to feel what we think. Think this transformation. Talk this transformation. What do you talk about? What ideas do you propose? What things do you promote? Even prophesy this transformation. All right. And I ultimately turn into this transformation. Be the transformation you want to see. Like Sam said, and I agree, the hardest person to lead is yourself. There's an old saying that everybody wants to help, everybody wants to change the world, nobody wants to help mama in the kitchen. Right? It starts with you, it starts with me. Let us lead from within out. The hardest person to lead is yourself. We will make it. We will make it. It takes only 2% of our population to change it. This is from sociologists. Every generation, like Frantz Fanon says, every generation has a mission. Kwame Nkrumah's generation was to give us political independence. I think our generation is to bring us socio-economic independence. All right. And so every generation has a mission to fulfill or deny. Frantz Fanon said, I hope we will fulfill our purpose to lead our generation for good and for God's glory. Thank you.
Very much, Yao. Thank you so much. And we come to you, Sam.
Thank you, Yao, and thank you, Comfort, and thank you, everybody. I got the call just, I think, a day or two ago when I was invited, and I said, wow, this is interesting, and anything to do with young people, I'm there. So I want to thank everybody, and my last words would be, have faith. Guys, let us believe it is possible. Mm-hmm. Let us have faith in Africa. I believe in Africa.
Yeah.
I believe we can make it.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else that you can make it, you can make a significant contribution than here.
Yeah.
Because we are so low, because we have so many challenges, it gives us more opportunities. Because leadership comes from solving problems. And if problems are the making of leaders, we have plenty of them in Africa. So go out there confidently, look for a problem to solve. And there, you're becoming a leader. The bigger the problems you tackle, the better, the bigger the leader you become. So have faith in yourself, have faith in Africa, believe in our people, believe in the African people. This Afro-pessimistic Africa cannot make it. Let us try to throw it out there, and let us believe in ourselves and believe that we can make it. Take the problems and solve them, and we become better leaders. Thank you.
Take the problems, solve them, we become better leaders. And in order to become even a better leader, I would like to encourage everybody. If you haven't joined us on the CoRe Hangout yet, you are in trouble. This Thursday at 7 to 8:30 p.m., we will have the opportunity to look at personal and digital branding on the CoRe Hangouts. If you haven't done it yet, if you haven't come this week, don't miss out, because it will blow your minds away. Additionally, we have the e-learning program where we are having, we are learning about your cover letter. Go to the website core.com.gh. Even as we wrap up today's meeting, I would like to say that leadership is about loving self, loving others, and serving others. You must have a discipline and be passionate about becoming a leader. And when you are a leader, it doesn't mean there'll be no obstacles in your way. The obstacles will come, and sometimes you may even fall. But I would like to encourage you. It's not about how many times you do fall. It's about how many times you rise up when you fall, and you forge ahead to become the leader that you want to be, both personally and influencing others. I would like to say thank you so much to every panelist that was on today, from Clenam in Addis Ababa to Zhao in Montreal, and to Sam in the studios in Accra. We would like to thank our technical crew, from Yao, Papa Yao to Emmanuel, Matthew, every single person, the social media crew, Anna and Napoleon, as well as everybody who has joined us today. Today wouldn't have been possible without you, and we are grateful for you joining us on Zoom as well as on Facebook. And so we'll come your way next time on the CoRe Hangout, on the CoRe Conference. Don't be a stranger, be on our website, and we know that together we will thrive and survive and be the leaders the world needs in our generation. Thank you, and God richly bless you all.